presented by Jesus on the 11th of November 2013 in Austin, Texas, USA. This is session 2.
Remember the feelings that we said, the belief that were all belief systems. So can you remember what some of them were? There's a feeling of hopeless. It's hopeless. It's dangerous. It's impossible. It's futile. I suppose that's the same as hopeless. Not necessary. Yeah. Cruel and wrong. Right? These are some of the belief systems that we have about having to feel and give up our addictions. Right? These are some of the belief systems. We have to feel those feelings before those feelings will go away. So the only way to change our faith is to feel the belief systems that are the opposite to our faith. So you know what we do instead of that? We tell ourselves, I should be trusting God. Instead of feeling like, I don't trust God at all. Right? We tell ourselves that it's not hopeless, even though we feel it's hopeless. We tell ourselves that it's not dangerous, even though, from our personal experience, we believe it's dangerous. We tell ourselves that it's not impossible, but in our feelings, when we were a child, we felt it was impossible. Do you see what we're doing? We're intellectually telling ourselves, and this is what's happening for many people who come along to sessions and listening to Divine Truth. They're hearing all these things I'm saying about the positive side, about God and truth and all these kind of things, love and all those kind of things. And then they intellectually start telling themselves a message that their soul doesn't agree with. And then they wonder why they can't feel the emotion. The only way you're going to get through this stage of stagnancy, is to actually feel some of these feelings. When you feel the hopeless feeling right the way through to the end, you will no longer feel it's hopeless. When you feel the dangerous feeling right the way through the end, you'll no longer feel it's dangerous. When you feel it's impossible feeling right to the end, you'll no longer feel it's impossible. When you feel it's not necessary, it's not the right thing to do, right to the end, you'll realise it is the right thing to do. It is necessary. When you feel God's cruel and wrong wanting me to do this, right to the end, you'll no longer believe God's cruel and wrong. That's how you get rid of your false beliefs, by feeling them. It's the opposite of what most people want to do. Most people want to tell themselves the opposite belief rather than feel the actual belief they feel. This is our primary problem. Our primary problem is that we need to actually feel the actual belief we have, not the one that we're telling ourselves we want to have. So I agree that many of you want to have a different belief system, but that's not helping you actually. Because you're telling yourself you have to have that belief system before you've felt the old belief system. Does that make sense? Mary?
I remember also in this process of coming to confront my addictions, realising that the only feelings that I was really comfortable with in the way I lived my life was to feel good through having an addiction met, or to be numb.
Yeah.
That was the way I lived. And
so in other words, there's three options, wasn't there? There's pain.
Yep.
Feel good.
Or be numb.
Or numb.
Yeah, and I realised I had almost zero tolerance for pain.
So priority system is going to be 0.
Yep.
No tolerance for pain. Feel good.
Yeah, we go for that majority of the time.
So most people were 50% or plus on wanting to feel good.
Yeah, although I think we're kidding ourselves, but anyway.
Oftentimes we
Yeah.
are. And most of us would be at least 50% of, close to 50% of just numbing out half the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I realised, and actually it kind of gets worse on this whole learning divine truth thing,
Yeah.
because you begin to realise as you like introspect and look at your life, and you begin to realise, oh, the only time I feel good is when I'm in my addictions. And crap, now I'm having more awareness, it doesn't even feel that good anymore.
Yeah.
So,
So now all of your feel-good options
yeah,
have
are
gone. So where are most of us tempted to go then?
Ooh, 80 to 90 numb.
100% numb.
Yeah.
This is where some of you have even gone, yes,
Yeah.
since you've become, learnt divine truth, yeah? 100% numb.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel worse than you felt when you began.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I remember realising that I was going to have to feel discomfort, pain, to feel uncomfortable in my own skin if I was going to actually confront addiction.
Yeah.
And I was going to have to, this linked with what you were just saying, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I lost it.
Can I just point out some things about spirit influence in amongst all this as well? So feeling good, for most of us, is all about our addictions, is it not? In our addictions, we attract people who feed our addictions or who confront them, and spirits who feed our addictions or who confront them. Okay? Don't we? When we go numb, what do we attract?
Spirits and people.
Spirits who basically want to just take over our entire life, and people who want to take over our entire life. That's what we attract. So what is the more dangerous thing? I don't know, but I feel that's pretty dangerous and that's pretty dangerous. From God's perspective, if you choose to feel that properly, like really own your feelings, if you choose to feel your pain, that is the least dangerous option in terms of what will happen in your future through the law of attraction. But none of us believe that. We believe that it is the most dangerous option. Why do we believe that? Because in our childhood, that was our experience. So we believe it because it was our experience as a child. But if you think about it, as a child, we did not have a full exercise of our free will because our parents and others controlled our will. Now, as an adult, we have free will. As a child, we couldn't remove ourselves from our family. We couldn't remove ourselves from the negative projections of our family. But as an adult, we can. Even if it's temporary, we can do it. Right? Can you see that many of us are still thinking as children? This is what happens with these childlike beliefs that get established before our brain has developed, is that we finish up feeling as a child feels even though we're in an adult body. We still think the same way as we thought then. We still feel the same way as we felt then. And that's because we've not released any of those beliefs from ourselves. So we carry them around. So basically, most of us are children in an adult's body, thinking that we have no way to get away when we do, thinking that we have no way to a degree, control our experience of release, but we do, because we're an adult now. We do. We have some way. We have some self-determination now, whereas when we were a child, we had none, or very little. So many of our belief systems are still like we're a child still. We're still thinking like we're 3-year-olds in a lot of ways with regard to our emotional experience. And that's understandable given the fact that these emotions are still within us. So if we look at those 3 things that Mary brought up, of pain, pleasure, basically we could call the other one, shall we? And numb, right, those 3, can you see where you're choosing to go? The majority of the time. Reflect upon it. Where are you choosing to go the majority of the time? The majority of us will find that we're always trying to seek for pleasure or be numb. Most of us have a deep avoidance of our true pain. Now, if we look at some of our most painful emotions, and this is why it's hard to get a start on the way to God. The reason why it's hard to get a start on the way to God is that our most painful emotional experiences are going to be the first ones we feel. Right? For many of us, that's the case. And of course, the way God's made it is that actually right at the end you'll feel your most painful ones, but you believe that your first ones are going to be most painful, and for the majority of people that's how it works out, because they find that most of these reasons why they want their addictions are all related to childhood beliefs. And giving up childhood beliefs are some of the most difficult beliefs to ever give up. Will you think of just a simple belief like Christmas? Childhood belief. Most people learn that Santa Claus comes through your chimney and leaves you a present and a stocking, under the fireplace if you've got one. And most of us believe that 2, 3, 4, 5 years of age. And then some child at school tells us that's not true. How many parents even get angry with that child, telling their child that it's not true? The deconstruction of a myth, there's a lot of general rage about. Right? Why? Because childhood beliefs we often feel as the most painful sets of beliefs. And they often are the most painful sets of beliefs. They are born before we even had an intellectual ability to evaluate them. And so they are going to be quite emotional. And this is why many people still teach their own children as an adult that Santa Claus comes through the chimney. They actually lie to their child. They'd rather do that than deconstruct their link inside of their own child to that belief. Even though they know intellectually they know it's wrong now, but they still want their child to believe it. It's pretty weird, eh? Wanting your child to believe something false because it brings you pleasure rather than pain. That's the only reason why. Right? And this is what we do with most of our childhood beliefs. Even once we realise they are a myth in our mind, we still continue to perpetrate them in our feelings. Isn't that interesting? So even our mind doesn't deconstruct the false belief. And this is why a lot of the painful false beliefs of our childhood are going to have to be released, but there's only one way they can be released. They can't be released by you telling yourself something different. And this is what many of you are trying to do. You're trying to tell yourself something different. Many of you don't have faith in God. You don't have faith in emotion. You don't have faith that anything like that will actually work. You don't. We need to be honest about that and say we just don't. Our emotional experience from the childhood belief systems are that as a child we had an experience which tends to suggest to us, and often violently suggests to us, that it's impossible to feel your emotions without having danger, violence, pain, suffering, and many other things that we will continue to attract for the rest of our life. Most of us believe that. We believe it in our heart. The only way that belief is going to leave us is to feel it. It's the only way it can leave us. It's not going to leave you just by trying to accept a different belief in your mind. It can't leave you that way. It's not going to. The only way a childhood belief is released is by feeling the belief. Right? And that is the problem. The problem we have is that most of these childhood beliefs we totally believe are true. So why would you go and feel them? Why would you go and feel them to release them? We totally believe they're true. And it's not, and so somebody can come along and tell you, look, your whole life will change if you let go of these beliefs. And you go, no, it won't. Don't be stupid. How can my whole life change? This is reality of the universe we live in. This is reality of the world we live in. This is what it's like. You're telling me that it's not? Do you live in some kind of like, la la land? So of course now even when we had the media come to us, now they say one of the titles was Meeting Jesus and Mary in La La Land. But the reality is the majority of us feel that I'm in La La Land, actually. The majority of you feel it in your soul. Does that make sense? Because your belief systems are telling you completely the opposite of what I'm telling you. And that's why you don't believe. So you can tell yourself that it all sounds nice. You can come along because it all sounds nice. But at the end of the day, you feel more and more blocked up, more stagnant, more blocked up, because the only way forward is going to be to feel these childhood beliefs. And sometimes when you feel them, you're also going to feel the age in which they were constructed. Do you realise that? Sometimes when you start feeling about one of the childhood beliefs, like for example, the childhood belief that you will get punished if you cry. That childhood belief. You feel that childhood belief, and while you're feeling it, you will probably feel that you're going to get hurt. Even as an adult, you're going to feel that someone will come along and hurt you for crying. Make sense? Now, I reckon we're going to have to do a battery swap. Just let me do that. Okay. So does everyone get what I'm saying there? How important this process is to actually feel your childhood beliefs. So you want to feel your actual childhood beliefs and not the ones you want to have now. Right? So many of you, because you have this, you've heard a lot of divine truth now, right? You've heard a lot about the theories of divine truth, is probably the way I'd like to say it to you. Because as yet, for many of you, it's not practice, it's not something that's happening inside of your soul because of this problem, actually. Because there's an unwillingness to feel the childhood beliefs. But if you think about it, the only way that you can progress forward now is not by listening to more divine truth. That's not going to help you progress forward. The thing that will help you progress forward is to feel some of these childhood beliefs that you have, that you sincerely believe are true. Beliefs that I'm saying to you are not actually true. Does that make sense? Allow yourself to feel them, these beliefs that you have. That's all that's required. When you feel a belief to completion, it disappears from you. You see, these beliefs are trapped emotion within your soul. And any time you trap an emotion in your soul, it determines your belief systems. So if you think about it from this perspective, if this is you, the person, your body, right? There's a flow of energy that flows through your body. But when you have a certain belief system that's out of harmony with love, it's like a ball of emotion that gets trapped somewhere in your body. Does that make sense? So let's say it's the belief system that I am worthless. Because that's what my parents taught me. That's a belief system of my childhood. That is like a trapped feeling in my body. Now, any energy or any experience that comes to me will pass through me and hit that belief. And that belief will colour every single experience. And not only that, the way God's made the law is that we will attract events to help us trigger that particular emotion that exists there as well. So that means that not only does any experience make us feel that we're worthless, but we are going to attract experiences that make us feel like we're worthless so that we can release the emotion, right? Now, if this emotional blockage here is released and it was caused when I was 3 years old, then I'm probably going to be feeling 3 years old when I feel it. Right? Because it's a trapped emotional experience. It's a trapped feeling of that age that was created by an experience. So when you feel it, you will feel the experience and probably in the end the age of the experience through the process.